Hey YouTube, it's your beekeeper here. We're going to put a coat of paint on this air tank fireplace, and we made a quick change to it on the chimney. 3-inch exhaust pipe, aluminized exhaust pipe. It's taking a lot of heat, hasn't even discolored, which is pretty cool. I have this sheet metal hanging around. This is, it's just set on there right now. This is 10-inch galvanized, just regular ducting, right, in the horde from some previous project. I wanted to do an experimente, so I put these self-tappers in. So the flue goes up to this level of screws, and then I use these bottom screws to hold it in place, right? Everything's loose right now, but it sits about like that. And my thinking was, and I haven't fired this yet, I just did this yesterday just for funsies. There's you know, a pretty good amount of space on the outside. I'm thinking that when the heat goes up, it'll make a draw, right? It'll draw in some cold air from here. It should get better evacuation of the smoke and gases out of there, as well as, yeah, I know it's not sitting right because I don't have the screws set right, as well as getting it a little bit above my head, a little farther above my head. This is like 24 inches, this is 33 inches, less, I don't know, 4.5, whatever. You know, if you're sitting here next to it, that should be plenty over your head. And again, I'm hoping this space here will draw in some cooler air. I have found a lot better success burning pallet wood as well as just old pine. This is oak off a pallet. And less smoke, good heat. But the problem is that, well, I'll show you the problem. Let me pull this apart and we'll take a peek. Look what happens. Untreated metal. Woo! So, this fireplace missed leg day. Skipped leg day for sure. And, I mean, this has a few layers in it. 2.5 loops around. So maybe it'll last, I don't know. But the just setting out, and I didn't put that plastic on for, I don't know, it sat out here unprotected for about a week. And then, you know, the fog comes in and we get a little sprinkles here and there. But it's all pretty surface. It'll come off pretty easy. So I'm going to wire wheel this thing, and then I'll show you what I'm going to paint it with. I'm also going to figure out some, I'm probably going to use Unistrut. I've got some pieces here left over from a job. Those are 12-inch legs. So I'm going to make something that's quick release, because I think this would be way more stable in the back of my truck sitting on here. If I can just pull the legs off, set it down on this, and then when I deploy it, I can click in the front and rear legs. It's the plan anyway. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with how this all works. And it throws out some heat. I'll tell you what, I had this area glowing red the other night. It wasn't intentional, but that's just kind of what happened. Yeah, so we're going to make some legs. We're going to put a coat of paint on it. I'm going to set you guys down. Let me get a few things set up, and I'll be right back. So I've had this kicking around for a long time. Rust-Oleum, high heat, resist up to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is probably not hot enough for this. I should probably use inch and enamel, but it is what it is. This is what I have. This is what I'm going to use. It's oil-based. I don't even know if you can buy this stuff anymore. I've had it sitting around for a long time. I used about that much. The level should be about right here to the top of the high heat. Still good, I think. We'll scrub that tank up, throw this in an HVLP, and see what it looks like. But oh yeah. Turn this welder off. So I put little 12-inch legs on it. That's that 1/2-inch all thread that used to be the legs. I just tacked in, it's a little warm, nut and washer. I may put a wing nut thing here, maybe not. This is big enough that you can get a good grip by hand and tighten it, or just a crescent wrench. It's not like this is a tactical setup and breakdown system. but it's really it's stout. It's solid. It's more better. It's more better. More better. Now it's a matter of I'm gonna pull the legs off and we're gonna paint this thing. That's just the first coat. Of course I had to wipe this. I was going to mask this off and then I stopped myself. You can see how pitted that top plate is. That sat out in the yard for years. I'm pretty sure that came to me pretty rusty and then it just sat out here and got beat up even more, but it's fine. I'm never going to cook directly on top of it. Not like food contact. Yeah, we'll give that a little bit to cure. I've got a couple other things to do while this thing is first coat's kicking off. We'll give it about 15 minutes to flash and then I'll lay a second coat on and then I think we'll be pretty happy with it. So that's how we leave her. 3 coats of barbecue paint. It's still a little tacky. Those legs are pretty stout. I like them. They're pretty easy to put on too, really. You set the whole thing down on the ground. You can tip the tank back, slip the front legs in, then you tip it forward, slip the back legs in. They're just hand tight right now, but they're pretty stout. Pretty happy. But if you could see, we're starting to sprinkle, so I wanted to do a test fire on this thing to help it cure, but that's not going to happen because we're sprinkly right now and it's just not going to happen. So I'm going to put those grates back in there. I'm going to put the blue tarp over the top, and then tomorrow's a new day. Maybe we'll run a fire in it tomorrow, help it cure a little quicker. Alright, there's your legs. Air tank, no plans, outdoor stove build thing. Alright. Thanks for watching, appreciate it. Gotta go, gotta run. See ya! Alright, so we're just going to kind of let that slowly cool itself down. I do like the legs. They're super easy to install and deinstall. Really, really stout. We're going to call this one done. Alright. And if I come across some 4-inch ducting somewhere down the road, I'll change this one out. But this overlapped one, I think, is going to work just fine. I'm just going to let her go. This actually worked quite well, surprisingly. Quite happy with that. Anyhow, we're just going to let this one roll out. And do one more low heat fire and then let her rip, tater chip. It's like 45 minutes later. It's interesting, the paint settled down. I don't know if you can see the textured finish. It's probably not stuck to anything anymore, but I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I'm going to do one more low heat fire and then we'll just let her rip, see what happens. I've never used that Rust-Oleum barbecue paint before, so I'm not at all familiar with it. At least now that it's cooled down. I'm going to put the tarp on it. So, the drips out of the trees, because we got some fog in here tonight. The watery drips coming out of those ukes don't muff anything up. That's it. Gotta go. Right around. See ya.